Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Reggie Sweet Johnson. I feel like we need a round of applause, man. We need some of that, some of that. Right. Normally when they call your name, people start cheering, you hear thousands of people clapping and stuff like that. But I'm doing the best that I can do right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think y'all understand, but this is one of my best friends in the world. We go way back. I'm talking about damn near the Pampers. His daddy and my uncle used to hang out together, and we started hanging out together, and we started boxing, I think, the same year.
Yeah, I think I was 12.
Yeah,
we was 12.
No, 11. We were 11. It was the summer. It was that summer going into our 6th grade year.
Right.
Yeah. That was something, man. Yeah, but he kept, Reggie kept it going, and eventually became a 3-time world champion. One of the unsung heroes of boxing. A lot of people who are not really boxing like real fans may not know, because, Reggie keep a low profile. It's always kind of kept a low profile, and he's not a loud dude. He's kind of cat that just kind of put his head down and go about his business. But I wanted to say to you, man, first and foremost, man, thank you for all of the exhilarating moments, because I've seen a lot of your fights in person, and I've had some of the best times hanging out with you. So, yeah, man. When I think about it, what's that fight that you had that made you say, man, I got it. I can really do it. I'm talking about that guy that you thought that you was going to have trouble with, and you ran through him, and you said, man, I'm really cold at this shit.
Well, I think I had that mindset when I was a young kid. The first day I put gloves on, my late uncle, the late Kenneth Iron Man Walker, we lost him about a year ago. Iron Man.
Salute.
Yeah, he's known as Iron Man, and in the hood, Iron Head. But he took me to the Salvation Army Boys Club, and you familiar with that place. Introduced me to the late Mr. James Carter. I remember the first day I went, they put me in there with a kid that had like 30-plus amateur fights. And to make a long story short, to speed it up, I just remember when they was taking the headgear and the gloves off, and the late Mr. James Carter, who became my father figure boxing coach.
Shout out to Mr. Carter.
The late Mr. James Carter, who was the head coach at the Salvation Army Boys Club. He said, young man, you could be champion of the world. And of course I heard him, but I was just so excited after I heard him about, I've found my niche. This is what I want to extend all my time to, boxing. And it started, and I lost my first amateur fight at PABA. Big shout out to Reverend Ray Martin. Got disqualified for slapping. I think the third round they stopped it because I wasn't turning. They had the white on the gloves. Wasn't turning the gloves over. Lost my second fight. Lost my third fight. And what's so crazy about it, riding back, well, you remember this, riding back in them vans, and all them guys was trying to figure out, man, they thought something was wrong with me because I was still happy. Normally when you lose, you but I was just still happy. I was just love what I was doing, man. And then I lost my fourth amateur fight. And then I won my fifth fight. And I think the next time I lost a fight, I was fighting in the JO Nationals. I think we was in Dallas, Fort Worth, in Texas. It just, my career took off. I moved fast in boxing as a young man.
You were 17 when you turned pro, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But to back it up just a little bit, I started like Muhammad Ali at age 12. Made the USA boxing team at age 16. As a matter of fact, I grew up fast. I have two sisters, Angela and Andrea Johnson. They're twins. My late mother, who had me when she was 14, Norma Jean Johnson, rest in peace, mother. And my father, who was, hanging out with your uncle. I think your uncle was a little smarter than my dad, though. I never heard anything about him getting in trouble, but my dad did all the time. And
Unc got in trouble. He just went to the boys' home.
Yeah. Well,
back then it was a boys' home. So.
Well, my dad went to the man home. He was locked up for a lot of years, man. Yeah. And but at the end of the day, before my dad passed in 2003, he's got his life together. And think about it, man. All the stuff that he did, he ended up working for those companies that saved people on the street. And I remember he used to call me sometime driving around in the van with, some of those people that he used to be was in the, in the van. So, that was great to see my dad make that change. But just remembering my dad being locked up, my two sisters was younger. They couldn't go with my mother, but I went with my mother to see my dad behind this, glass windows, and it was like, when he's coming home, to fast forward, speed it up. But my dad got his life together, and he lived a good life, and I think we lost him in 2003. So.
Yeah, that's the only dad I knew, the good dad. I knew the good side.
Yeah.
I never knew that gangster side.
Yeah, you never knew it.
I definitely heard about it.
Never know about it.
Yeah. Shouts out to my Uncle Melvin Dennis, one of the great boxing legends out there. You came up in a household primarily raised by your mother, and, it was you and your two sisters. How much pressure did you have on you to turn pro and start helping out financially?
Well, back then, I think when I was coming up, especially when I found boxing, when I think in retrospect, I wouldn't consider it was pressure. My mother used to always tell me I was the man of the house, and, had my sisters, and I was very, man, if someone looked at my sisters back in those days, man, I would, I'm balling my fists up ready to fight. But to make a long story short with that question you just asked, man, having my two sisters, having my mother, keep in mind, my mother had me when she was 14. So back in those days, excuse me, I can even remember going to school, high school with my mother. Back then, you could take, if you had a kid, they had some type of program where you could take your kids to school with you. Mm-hmm. And I always tell everybody, well, my mother didn't go to Wheatley. I say we went to Wheatley because I used to go to school with my mother. And man, it's just thinking about that, talking about that, it hurts. My mother's gone, my father's gone, and Will, you know me, I'm a picture guy. I love pictures, man. I was raised up with pictures and traveled with photographers, man, and I love pictures. And every night before I go to sleep, a lot of people don't know this here, that's how I go to sleep. I always look at pictures.
I didn't know that. You don't be looking at my pictures.
Oh, I just send you two the other day? I was looking at your pictures. Didn't I just send you two pictures?
You did.
Yeah,
you
that's
did.
why. See, I was looking at you.
That's crazy, man. So that's therapeutic to you.
Yeah, very therapeutic. There's nothing more. There's nothing bigger than pictures, man. Nothing bigger than frozen time.
Have you ever thought about becoming a photographer on the side? Because you do a lot. You take a whole lot of damn pictures.
Yeah,
you got a picture of everybody.
I got pictures.
Every single event that ever happened.
Yeah, I even got that picture when you were still in the candy out there. What?
You got that picture?
Hey, you're right though. Will. I love pictures, man. I love pictures, and big shout out to the late Oscar Skip Davis, who I knew since I was a kid. He used to take pictures at the amateur shows, and I used to always tell the man, all right, when I become pro and champ, you gonna be my. And when I lived in L.A., he was there with another fighter and saw me. He said, "Boy, you remember what you used to tell me?" And from that day forth, he was with me every day. And he's part of the reason why I have over 75,000 pictures.
Wow.
Oscar Skip Davies, you know Mr. Davies.
How do you know you got over 75,000?
Cause yeah.
Well, did you transfer them to digital yet?
I got them on thumb drives, digital, all that, yeah.
Yeah,
I got pictures galore, yeah.
That's a lot of damn pictures. When you look at those pictures, I remember one picture you sent me, and it was a group picture of us. It was like me,
Four
you,
of us, right?
It was it was me, you, and probably about 20 people, and maybe 15, 20 people. But out of that number, I think it was like 4 or 5 was dead.
Oh.
It was like Moo Chateau.
Oh, yeah. I think I know the picture you're talking about.
Your dad
I think it was 12
was
pictures.
in that picture.
I think 9 or 10 of them was gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what. Did I mention that when I sent you that picture?
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah.
That's the thing about memory lane, that it's like a burden and a curse to go back down memory lane, because when you go down memory lane, you think about the good times, but then you think about the people who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And that is painful.
And especially when those people have really played a major role in your life, like the Mr. James Carter. You remember the fight of Warren Williams? I think I had just
Warren.
Yeah, I had just turned 16, and
hard hitter.
Yeah, very hard hitter, and muscle, looked like a bodybuilder. But Mr. Carter, I remember that day we was at those fights, and they made the fight for me to fight him that night, and everybody was looking at Mr. Carter like he was crazy, this and that, and
you're talking about the amateurs, right?
In the amateur, in the amateur, right. And I had just turned 16, and they thought Mr. Carter had lost his mind, put me in there with a grown man, and looked like a bodybuilder, and I beat Warren Williams in a 3-round decision. And until this day,
Warren want a rematch? I say you didn't win, huh?
Whenever I see him, he always talk about a rematch. But Warren is like Kennedy and Dennis Hitman Benjamin. My uncle them, who got me into boxing. He was on that level with them when he started. But he respect that, and I'll be with him sometime. Whenever I haven't seen him in a while, but he'll bring that up. I don't even talk about it, but he'll bring it up. Yeah.
The world know Muhammad Ali, as a great fighter and activist. What about Muhammad Ali made you such a super fan? Because you wasn't just a fan of Muhammad Ali, you was a friend of Muhammad Ali. Explain that relationship.
Well, back then I didn't really understand all the talking. As a little kid, all the talking, what Ali was really talking about, not going to war, Ali being very bold and saying what's on his heart and what's on his mind. Hey man, I'm not. You want me to go over there and kill innocent people, and I'm not even free over here. I'm not being taken care of in America. And as time went on, I really got a chance to understand him, and what made Ali so great, man. What he did in the ring was great, but what he did outside the ring was greatness. A man who was willing to die, and he said, "I'm willing to die. I'll stand in front of machine guns before I do this or before I do that." Standing up for my people. Me getting the chance to meet Ali was, man, probably most definitely in my top 5 things that ever happened to me in my life. Being able to spend time with that guy Ali, and you was there in New Jersey the day before, I fought for the world title. I'm in Ali.
Steve Collins.
Yeah, Steve Collins. There you go. I was in Ali's room, messing with him and his little boy, and get a knock on the door. My chief trainer, Manuel Chato Robles. Big shout out, Chato. And I hope your family's doing well. knocked on the door, and I opened the door. Chato said, Reggie, come here, man. He said, listen to me, Reggie. Listen to me, man. I know you love Ali, man. But Ali no fight for you, man. He said, goddamn, man, we fight for one title tomorrow, man. Ali no fight for us, man. I said, okay, Chato. So I go back in there and tell Ali, I say, Ali, I got to go. Chato said, I got to get focused and this and that. And you know how Ali is. Ali like, what you say his name was? I say his name is Manuel Robles. We call him Chato. That's his, name. We call him Chato. He say, boy, you know Chato, right, man? And plus, I don't want you blaming me if that Irish white boy whoop your ass. Man, get out of here. You know Ali, then he'll start throwing punches at you, man. That was Ali, man. Things like that. I'll never forget things like that, man. But think about it, man. The man you love the most, your hero, man. If there's a God on earth, he would be my God. And this man sitting ringside right there, watching me fight for the world title in my second try, in which I won against Irish Steve Collins.
Yeah, man. Great fight.
And you was at both of them. You was at both of them.
Yeah.
You was at the James Toney fight.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to James Toney. But I want to close out this Ali chapter first.
Okay.
So I want to know, how did you meet Ali? Like, what was that meeting like? What did you say to him when you first met him?
See, I had met Ali a few times when I lived in L.A. And you know about L.A. You flew there a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I met him there he was at the Great Western Forum at fight nights at the Forum. But what really got me close to Ali was Judge Lloyd Wells.
Lloyd Wells, just like the Lloyd Wells.
The judge, Lloyd Wells. He, he traveled with Ali.
Ali's photographer.
Yeah, photographer, and traveled with Ali. And that's how I really got really, really tight with Ali, because what happened was Lloyd Wells called me one day crying. And I'm like, Judge, what's up, man? Oh, I couldn't hardly understand. I said, wait a minute, slow down, Judge, slow down. Relax, slow down. What's the problem? He said, oh, man, Mama Bird had died. And I'm like, Mama Bird? I'm like, Mama Bird? I'm like, well, who's Mama Bird? He said, Ali mother. I said, oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that, Judge. And he just said, man, I got to get there. I said, Judge, don't worry. You there. I'll get you there. We'll work it out. We'll get there. And me and him flew to Louisville to Ali's mother's funeral. And that's when, man, could you think about it? I'm riding around with Ali. He's showing me where he lived at, showing me the house that he was raised in, and, things of that nature, and just showing me his community. And man, Ali is an entertainer, and Ali know when to turn it on. And even when he turned it off, at some degree, it's still on, Will. Yeah. Ali is, man. There'll never be another Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, it was beautiful to see how he walked out during your fight. Ali always comes out when everybody's sitting down, everybody's in their place.
Right.
A few fights been taking place or whatever, and right before the main event or the fight that he come to see, usually is the main event.
Right.
Ali come out. Ali walking through that bad boy almost like the sea party.
So I never experienced that. So you experienced that at the Steve Collins fight? Him?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah. When you fought Steve Collins, he came out. He came out, and it was like everybody just stopped and just started looking. Like he was a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? Like if Ali, it's like an Ali sighting. Like everybody like. There he is.
But think about this, man. The man was sitting like I can do like that, and like he was like sitting right close to the my ring, to my corner, and that motivated me even more, and it was more pressure on me, knowing that, hey man, I can't lose this in front of Ali, my hero, and. What I've, like you said, we'll get to it, but what I experienced in that first world title fight, man, and Will, I just remember the first judge had me winning. I think the second judge had it it'll draw, or either had Steve winning by 1 point or something. But and if you go look at that and watch me, I'm like, I'm talking to them. I say, oh, man, here we go again. They're gonna do this to me again. But then they said my name, and I was like, whew.
Well, I almost turned that barrier over.
You jumped out the what you call?
Yeah, man. I'm like,
you
man.
running?
And look,
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey, boy, and his people was deep. Those Irishmen and Irish men and women were deep.
But that's another thing they didn't tell me. Well, that fight was hosted. We was in New Jersey, right?
Right.
And I remember when that fight got put together, Murad Muhammad, that's how I ended up doing business with him, the promoter. He said, man, they wanted, hey, man, you number one by two of the sanctioned bodies, but by the WBA, Steve Collins number one, you number two, and they stripped Mike McCallum, and you guys got to fight for the vacant title. And they're gonna take this fight to Ireland. Reggie, I can get this fight here, man. You got it. So that kind of like motivated me to sign with him, and I signed with it. But you was there. It was like we was fighting in Ireland, Reggie.
Damn sure was. And I thought, look,
all those Irish people there.
And look, and I was looking at the whole situation. I'm like, damn, Reggie got to fight in the ring, but I may have to fight these people out here, man, because I wasn't holding back. I wasn't holding back my enthusiasm. I was like, I ain't give a damn.
You just being the winner that you is, man.
And while I'm like going for it, like every single blow that you throw, every time you smash him, like every time you hit him, it was like it was one of them thunder hits, right? Yeah. And one of them thunder punches, and Bridget was like,
did you get into it with somebody during the fight? Somebody was telling me you had to went off on somebody or something.
I mean, you were throwing haymakers at dude, man, and I'm like going crazy, and Bridget is like, Willie, trying to calm me down because she see we're behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
And man, I just couldn't hold back, man, because it was so beautiful to see, man, my homeboy who I grew up with on a national stage like that, on a worldwide stage like that, really, and getting ready to, accomplish his dream. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful to see. So at that moment, I'm living vicariously through you. I was already doing my thing with the group, with the music and stuff. So we was already, on a platinum track. Right. But man, it was beautiful to see the homie get it too. When you got that, when you won that championship, man, did you cry? That's what I'm gonna. Did you cry?
Well, of course I had. I didn't cry, but I did. I mean, it was heartfelt, and it brought tears to my eyes because, like I said, if you go back and watch when they was announcing who won that world title fight, when they said, I think they gave him, the second judge gave to him a call. No, it was a draw, and when I did, I'm like talking to him, oh man, here we go again. They finna get me again. But then they announced my name as the WBA middleweight champion of the world, and I think that fight was on Showtime, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but I think it was Showtime.
I can't remember that far back.
Yeah, that was Showtime.
But that was a very, very good outcome. Yeah. And you were talking about what was it? The James Toney fight earlier.
Right.
You mentioned the James Toney fight. That fight, I thought you won the fight.
Willie, you were there live too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you won the fight, but you know what? I want to ask you what you thought. What did you think first?
Well, I stuck to the game plan that Chato and them laid out for me to fight, how to fight, and I thought I won the fight hands down. I fought on my terms. If you look at that fight, I fought on my terms, and I thought that was a fight I won. And to take nothing away from James Toney, who became one of the best fighters, also of our era, who was a fighter that probably could fight in any era. James lights out Toney. Let's keep in mind that that man went all the way up to heavyweight and stopped one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
I think that's
Evander
probably what
Holyfield.
put him in the Hall of Fame more than anything. When he jumped those weight classes and became champion, hey, man.
Well, he had to do that, though, Will. He had a problem with eating, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always had problems with making weight.
James Lights That Toney, man. I'm going to tell you what I saw in the fight.
Okay.
James was the champion. And you knocked him down in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was the second round, right?
Second round, yeah.
Okay, you knocked him down in the second round. And I thought that you was more elusive. He was more aggressive, but you was more, but you connected more, and you was elusive. It was hard for him to hit you. You should have won the fight based on points and all of that. But you know, when it comes to beating champions, if whoever got that belt, you got to be a killer.
The politics of it.
You got to kill him. Yeah, you got to go out and convincingly destroy the champion, and that ain't what happened. You know, like you convincingly won the fight, but you didn't convincingly destroy him.
I don't know if I ever told you this here about that James Toney fight. When I got back to California, got home, I sit there and I watched that fight by myself. And I seen something that most people didn't see. And I remember when I went back to the gym and I got, what's the guy name who's running the gym? But I got him and Chato, and I pulled all them guys together. I said, look at this. I said, watch this. When I dropped James Toney down, I'll never forget the lady's name, Patricia German, the judge. She did like this. She was pissed, and she was looking at me mad that I knocked James Toney down. And she was the one that had James Toney.
She was his manager, right?
No, I'm talking about one of the judges. When I knocked him down, she did like that. I'll show it to you.
Oh, okay.
The judge, and she was the one that, she was. Come on, man. We know there's politics and everything, but the tricks, the politics, that, and guess what? I was fighting Bob Arum's guy in Las Vegas. He was signed with Bob Arum.
That's why I said you had to destroy him.
Yeah,
when you look at it, I mean, and that's additional politics. But
right.
Just in general in boxing, we all know that it's just like somebody come for your belt. They gotta convincingly, they gotta destroy. They can't just win. You know what I'm saying? They can't just outbox you or whatever. Like, no, the people want to see the champion get destroyed. It got to be no doubt that you won if you're going to beat the champion, unless you have home court advantage.
Yeah, but see, that's still coming from someone, a fight fan, or someone like you, or anybody like, okay, I'm watching, my guy fight a fight. That's just like the audience out there watching the fight. Mm-hmm. But then when I speak about the politics of boxing, man, you know how many fights I've seen where a guy really whoop a guy and everybody in there know this guy whoop the guy and they still give it to that guy. So when you're in that fight, you're not only fighting a guy, you fighting, especially if Bob Arum was James Toney promoter.
Do you think there was ever a fight that you had where you got the benefit of doubt when you didn't really win the fight? Do you think?
Well, let me tell you something. My last fight in 2008 with the late Julio Gonzalez, rest in peace, Julio, was a great guy who I knew before when I moved to California. He was in the gym.
Well, you beat Julio. I was at that fight.
Yeah, you was at that fight. But a lot of people thought that I didn't win that fight. I mean, I thought I won the fight, but I mean, it was a close fight. And right when they announced me the winner, I was talking to Julio. I said, man, if you felt you win this fight, most of these fans are, hey, man, we got to do a rematch. I went and told him that, but that rematch never happened.
Well, I think you were also in hostile territory, so it depends on who got the most fans in that audience. Did I have the most fans in that audience? I don't know. I think it could have been. It could have been even.
I thought it was I thought that was. I thought
it could have been even.
The fans that was there, I think they just came to see a fight, and I know some people was rooting for me, and they had some people that were rooting for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a major it was any consolidation on any side where you had one had a considerable amount more fans than the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like, because it was at a casino, and when people come to a casino, a lot of times they just want to see a fight.
Right, and they come
want
from
to see a fight.
everywhere. Yeah.
They come from everywhere.
Yeah,
They just
you're
want
right.
to see a fight.
You're right. Yeah.
Who fighting? Okay, I want to be that. Woo, woo. And so sometimes they may not even have a dog in the fight, but they want to see.
A good fight.
They want to see a good fight.
Yeah. So let me ask you something, Will. I think I already know this. Maybe I forgot. When I fought James Toney, was that your first time in Las Vegas?
Man, you already know you trying to set me up.
No. I'm not trying to set you up. I'm serious.
That was my first time.
Okay, I just can't. I mean, well, as you get older, man, I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say our age, but we getting up there, brother. We getting up there.
Say, man. You know we both on Wikipedia, right? We can't hide our age.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that too. Yeah, you're right.
I ain't trying to hide mine because they told me I was gonna be dead by 18, man. So I love this 56 I got, man. I'm looking forward to 57. I'm coming up on it, baby.
You had a hell of a counterpunch. You changed your life.
I'm coming up on it, baby. I'm loving it, man. I ain't tripping at all.
No, Will, let me ask you this here. What, before I ask you, I want to ask you, what's my birthday? My birthday.
Your birthday is August 28th, is it?
God.
August 28th?
I don't know your birthday. Why I should have even asked you that?
Boom. Boy, don't play with me, boy. Don't play with me, boy.
Will, how you remember that, man?
Man, I told you.
Well, you didn't get hit all of them. You did a little boxing too, but you didn't take all that punishment I took. So
man,
I got an excuse, brother.
Speaking of all that punishment, man, your career was cut short because you got in a little jam, right?
Oh, yeah.
But let's back up. You started in 94. I mean, you started in 84. You started in 84. I didn't realize that you had boxed for 24 years before you stopped boxing.
Yeah.
You stopped in 2008.
Right.
That's 24 years of fighting.
Right.
And I know you wanted to go on. You wanted to fight more.
Right.
But have you ever thought that as much as you was denied those opportunities, that perhaps it saved you? It saved your mental capacity. You got all your faculties. You got some memory problems, but imagine had you fought for as long as you wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Perhaps, perhaps you're not sitting here in one piece.
And that's why I know I'm blessed by the best, because not only when you speak about that, I also think about, God is in control, man, and everything happened for a reason. So, to do 24 years, to do all the traveling, to meet all the people, to meet the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all those guys, man, it's already was written. We set it out and we speak about how many fights we want to have or how we want to be busy, but we're not in control of that. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Will. Even to this day, when I sit down and watch fights, my thing is like, man, I should come back and become the oldest to win a world title. Like pretty much what George Foreman did, and then the next day, a couple of days go by, we think about it. I'm like, man, I've been blessed by the best. Why would I go back and do that? I got all my faculties. And think about it, man. They got, Ali was crazy, man. Ali was talking about Joe Frazier. He thought, he got some fighters you can't understand, Will. Some of them, man, they got a lot of fighters sleeping on the street, man. And just, it's sad. And, one of the things... I don't want to just be noted for being a boxer, a world champion boxer. I want to be noted for making the change, putting some business structure in place to take care of fighters. Think about the NFL, the NBA, the National Baseball League, Soccer League. They got business structures. Like if those guys been in that that league or played for so long they get a check for the rest of their life. See, boxing don't have nothing like that. And, you know, we got a lot of work to do with boxing, and I want to be a part of it. They should have something, and think about it. Boxing is a real world sport. Like the NFL, how can you be? You can't say you're the world champion in the NBA or NFL. You're not playing everybody all over the world. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Huh.
Yeah, you never thought about that, huh?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, but boxing is the first sport. They started with bare knuckles in, I think, the late 1800s. And man, these fighters, man, think about this. Some of those fights, man, would you believe this, Will? The judges, the timekeepers, the referees, the commentators. Sometimes you watching two guys in there with their life and health on the line. And those guys are making more money than the two guys in there who got their life on the line.
That's cool.
That's reality, bro. But it's reality. It's real.
Well, you got to work your way up. You want to get to the money. You want to make more money than the commentators.
Oh, absolutely. But that's what makes it so hard because, say you're a fighter, you done put in all this work, you done put in these fights. You know, now you're in a position to go out there and make $5-10 million in a fight. I mean, you can't just stop and say, okay, well, I'm not gonna fight because it makes it hard, man, for fighters to come together and put this stuff together. But we got to figure this out, man.
Well, let's say you're speaking before the United States Congress on boxing, a boxing pension. And so what do you say to your representatives, all of these congressmen and women that you're standing before? How do you argue your case for the fighters out there?
It's a beautiful thing you brought that up because the state of California had that. And I still have a pension in California. And if a state can do it, why come this nation can't do it, or why come the world can't do it? When it comes to two guys in there putting their life and health on the line.
So what do you tell your state reps? I'm one of the state reps. You speaking right now. TV cameras everywhere. All the people in here, all the decision makers, the people who can make the decision, who can make it happen. Talk to me. What do you say?
Well, I would first say I would like to have a meeting with Sheila Jackson Lee or whoever those.
Sheila busy. You can't talk to Sheila. Get out of here.
Yeah, she real.
What else you got?
But I would like to probably put something together and have them take a look at it and see how can we change the ultimate sport of boxing. How can we take care of these fighters? Look at Gerald McCullough. I talk to his sister all the time, and I be hearing him in the background, man, and it's even that brings tears to my eyes, man.
I think one of the most compelling arguments is to actually show and prove. If you show a tape, video of fighters like Gerald McCullough, who gave so much to the sport, he gave it all. I mean, you're talking about a hard hitter. He entertained a lot of people.
I'll tell you another guy from Puerto Rico, the great Wilfred Benitez. He's same situation like Gerald. His people taking care of him.
I thought Wilfred Benitez died.
No.
He's still alive.
No.
Okay.
I think he's still alive. His people taking care of him.
Man, I saw Iran Barkley a while back. It's like maybe over 20 years ago. And so this is shortly after he had retired.
Wow, 20 years ago.
Yeah, this is like 20 years ago, man. And I saw him in New York at a fight in New York. I think it was a Roy Jones fight. But I called his name. I was standing behind him, and I called his name. And he had to turn his whole body to see me. He didn't just like turn around, like turn his neck, or turn his head around. He's just like, he had to turn around his whole body.
Are you serious?
And he said, it was in slow motion too.
Wow.
He said, "What's up, Willie D?"
Man,
And it was another reminder. Hey, that boxing, it ain't no joke. You can go in that ring. It's one of the few sports that you can actually go into the ring and know that you can die. You may not come out the same when you go in that ring. It's a good chance. It ain't like it's a chance. There's a good chance you're not gonna come out the same.
So we can't really even say that boxing is a sport. Boxing is the only sport that you can't play. You can't play boxing.
Huh. Can't play boxing.
Can't play boxing. And now, of course, we got to add that MMA thing, because that's brutal, too, what they doing now with the MMA.
Right.
You can't, them two games you can't play, man. You can't play that. You can play football. Yeah, you got somebody to pass the ball to, the basketball to, throw the baseball to the second base or something, but you can't throw them gloves to nobody. I mean, you got to stick with them and you got to get it done or get done.
Yeah. Who's the hardest puncher you ever fought?
Well, that guy Jorge Castro, who I fought twice in Argentina, he was heavy-handed. It's like that guy we should have had his gloves checked, and I fought him 2 times in Argentina. That guy was hard, but, my skills set enabled me to, catch those hard punches and make him miss a lot of punches. But if you make me pick somebody, you got to understand, speed generates power. And if you ask me that question, who was the hardest to ever hit you, it's got to be when you was hurt the most in a fight. And that's Roy Jones Jr., the best fighter of our era.
So you
was at that fight too.
Yeah, I was at that. I was at
that 1-2
fight.
punch. Now that first fight, it was a knockdown, but it wasn't hard. I was like slipped too. I was off balance. Mm-hmm. But that second punch, I didn't see the punch that you don't see.
That's
speed generates. Oh
most.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it. The beautiful thing about it is when you say that's the one that hurt. You don't feel no pain. Well, I didn't feel I can only speak for I didn't feel no pain. I just, when everything came back to me, I was on the ground. It was just so fast,
Yeah. That's the thing about boxing. It's like, you can get knocked out and not feel any pain, but in that moment, your equilibrium is off, and you got to go down. I don't care what you thinking. You got to go and lay down for a minute.
And then, like you said, and then after the fight, you had the pain. Yeah, you gonna have a little pain or something. But I mean, the most pain I ever had after a fight, and I had 52 pro fights, is when in those 2 fights, I tore my rotator cuffs in 2 different fights.
You were 47-7-1.
Huh?
You were 47. You
no,
were
42. 44-7. 44-7-1. Right. Yeah. And I always let people know.
That's a solid career. That's a Hall of Fame worthy career. If you consider the people that you fought James Toney, you fought Steve Collins. These are all world champions. You fought Steve Collins. You fought Roy Jones.
Antonio Tarver.
Antonio Tarver.
Yeah.
And you fought somebody.
Jorge Castro in Argentina twice.
Wow, Castro twice. Wow,
that
was big.
And John David Jackson.
And you fought Lamar Parks, although Lamar was not a champion. But Lamar was on his way. He was 25 and 0.
He was the favorite to win that fight.
27 and 0.
Yeah.
He was favored to win.
He was signed with Madison Square Garden.
25 knockouts out of 27 fights.
Yeah.
He was that dude, and you gave him his only loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately he had to retire early, but Lamar Parks was, God, man, this dude was dynamite.
And when you mention power, his name do come up, man. That dude. He didn't only have power; he was fast.
Yeah, if you wasn't so elusive, you would have to.
Yeah.
You probably forgot it. If you wasn't so elusive, you probably would have forgot to come here today.
That Lamar Parks, he's one of the crackers, man. That dude could crack.
Let me ask you something. You've always been a speed fighter. You've always been quick. When if I was to like before the fight, before the Roy Jones fight, I had you guys like, boom. I was like, if anybody can match Roy Jones' speed is Reggie. He's just fast, very elusive, very fast. But in the Roy Jones fight, it was like, what happened in that fight? Like, what happened? I mean, did
Well, you was at that fight too,
No,
man. I got my ass whooped.
no,
for
I saw what happened, but what I'm saying is that you had a game plan going in.
Right.
Like, what was the game plan going in?
Well, the game plan was to put pressure on Roy Jones and smother him and make him fight.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back and look at that fight, I think I like kind of like right in front of him, try to jump on him, and dealing with the speed with if you on a guy hitting him or throwing punches on him, how can he? I don't know. I don't care how fast he is. How could he? And see, this is what a lot of people don't understand, man. There's so much history that go with boxing. When I got with this one promoter, he was out there trying to give it a Roy too, Murad Muhammad, and I was out there in Pensacola, and they promoted a fight in Pensacola where that's Roy's hometown, where he's from, and I was training at the gym, and I remember when I first met Roy, we got in there. I think we sparred like 3 days, and then he stopped coming. I think him and his dad was going through some stuff, but I even seen then, I was, man, this dude's gonna be somebody to deal with in the future. And not only that was in my mindset, but they got this on HBO. But Roy said it when we fought, when they interviewed him, he knew that. And he told his dad, "No, I'm not sparring him. We're gonna end up fighting each other." And we ended up fighting each other. And but I always knew this too, cause sparring with Roy, I know I caught Roy a couple of times with right hooks, and he wobbled. And you can only wobble a man if you can get to him to hit him there. But when the man got that skill set where you can't get to him, and Roy was that guy for a long time. He was the best fighter of our era.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'll find too many people that would disagree with that.
This is another thing, Will. You know how many people I've had told me, say, well, Reggie, I know y'all wanted to deal with Roy's, not only his ring generalship, but his speed and just jump on him. But a lot of people say, well, man, really, Reggie, I think you kind of like overlooked your skill sets. I mean, you like your timing. A guy can be fast and you still can make him miss. You still can out-time him. You see what I'm saying? And
I was actually thinking that when you was talking.
Yeah. So I had a lot of people say, man, if you would have
fought your fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, that's pretty much what Antonio Tarver did.
Both of you guys are counterpunchers, though.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that you're thinking back, like, I can't sit back and wait on him because he's going to be sitting back waiting on me.
Yeah, but
it's like I got to bring the fight to him if I want that belt.
Yeah. Well, this is what you got to understand. If I did want them belts he had, because that was a unification. I was champion and he was champion. That was a unification. So all the belts was on the line. That unified the light heavyweight division.
Yeah. That was one of those. That was one of the few fights that I went to where like the audience was like. This was like maybe a half and half audience too, like, and people were like cheering for Roy. People were cheering for
Roy's
you.
right there by Mississippi, so
Yeah.
Well,
I guess he had
that was a Roy crowd.
Yeah, he had more of the crowd, but even so, after that everything was over, man. It was a really surreal moment because. I'm on one hand, I'm like, man, that was a great effort on Roy's behalf, but he beat my boy, so we're going to have to get him. I think we got to get Roy.
What you mean get him?
Got to get him.
No, you can't do that, Will. Will, you crazy, man.
Nah, it wasn't
Roy,
like that.
hey, man.
Roy. I like Roy. I like Roy because he was a true champion, and he carried himself like a true champion. He was always a respectful dude. Unless you was disrespectful to him, you know, you had his utmost respect. He was always a solid dude, and he always carried himself with a lot of dignity, and he still do. So he's one of those dudes, like you, who has been very good for the sport and has represented the sport well. You are now working on, trying to bring some type of pension to boxing for those fighters who may not have anything financially.
Right.
Are you working with any other fighters to make that happen?
Well, I talked to a whole bunch of fighters, Will. I even got some guys who specialize in that. These are corporation guys that I'm talking to. That pretty much saying, Reggie, we with you. We agree with you on this. That this needs to have boxing needs some structure to take care of these fighters, and the hardest thing is to bring everybody, because these guys is different states and stuff. I even got some people overseas like, oh man, that winning the world title, man, Reggie, that's wow, that's awesome. But if you could spearhead something that really clean this sport up and take care of these fighters, man, your Hall of Fame would be on the moon everywhere. That's what the company's got.
Delivered.
Yeah.
You would be a good ambassador for the sport because you got a good reputation. The fighters like you, and the fighters trust you, and you're passionate about the sport.
I love the sport. It's my life. Yeah.
Very passionate about the sports. I know you go to Hall of Fame and all those events and ceremonies every year.
Yeah.
So, and you're a fan also of the fighters.
Oh,
You sometimes when you do the same thing that somebody else do in a particular field, there's such a rivalry that it prevents you from giving another person their flowers or supporting that person. But you have no problem with that. You never had a problem with that. That's why I said you would make a good ambassador.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, like you say, whether I'm in the sport or not, I love the ultimate sport of boxing. And I would love to see these guys have structure, take a stand, and take care of them after the fight. If you think about a fight, I mean, I wonder what fight came the closest to making $1 billion in just one fight with, the two fighters, the big fight. I mean, and I've heard of
Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao.
Yeah. One of those fights, but just think about it. Like right now, man, boxing is like it's not like the '90s and the early 2000s. And when I won the world title against Irish Steve Collins, and the ratings came out, did you know I was number 5?
No, I didn't.
And I'm the champion of the world, but that's how much talent that was in all the weight divisions, even the heavyweights.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm the world champion, but I'm rated number 5 in the world.
Well,
I end up getting up to number 2, but but think about it.
You fought some of the biggest fighters in the game. In your era. In your era, you fought some of the biggest fighters, and you beat some. You got the record. 44 wins in a professional boxing career, and you're fighting real fighters, not cab drivers. You're fighting real fighters. 44 wins against only 7 losses. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. Why aren't you in the Hall of Fame?
Well, once again, Will, there's
And I don't want to say anything to get you in trouble, because y'all need to give my boy his flowers, man.
Yeah. No.
Give him his flowers.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about that, Will, my name came up one time, and I didn't make it in that time. So just knowing that it's going to get back to that, and DM my guy in Wilmington, Delaware, who set up all the charity events I do. When I go to the Hall of Fame, we do like 3, sometimes 4 days, nothing but charity stuff, and then he and I take off and go to the Hall of Fame, be there, 4-5 days, and then I come back and then fly back home. But he's working on it, and also you got to look at it from this perspective. If you got a guy from Mexico, he's going to bring a whole country with him. And you know where Hispanic fighters are in the ultimate sport of boxing. Who we gonna put in, him, or are we gonna put Reggie from the United States, from Houston? What I'm trying to say is,
You talking about to draw the crowd in for the ceremony?
for the Hall of Fame, yeah, that's gonna put him in there, yeah. I think they got some people that's in the Hall of Fame that's only won the world title one time.
Mm-hmm. Like who?
Let me think of one. But these are like old school guys. I'm talking about from way back, old school guys, but only won one world title. I mean, you can't see those guys. Look at their record and see them fighting. Whoa, he fought Roy Jones. He fought James Toney. He fought Antonio Tarver. He fought Jorge Castro, who was champion twice in Argentina. And then, I mean, if you look at it, if you add it up, you be like you're saying, wait a minute, how did this guy get in?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not in. And another thing too that'll help that I realize is getting the Sheila Jackson Lees, getting the city involved, getting them to send in letters saying, why come our guy is not in the Hall of Fame? He's the first guy from Houston to win a world title.
What's the process to get into the Hall of Fame? What's the criteria?
Of course, being a noted fighter, a world champion. I can't really answer all that because I don't know what they all going. Well, I mean, winning world titles is one of them, but and I do know it's your followers, the people you bring. The people you bring.
Hey, so man, we're gonna have to organize a convoy.
Yeah.
Get on down there. Do whatever we gotta do.
But
man.
I mean, I think but like also knowing my name that already came up.
Once your name comes up, or put it like this: once you retire, is there a limited amount of years?
5
that
years.
You can go?
I think it's 5 years.
5 years after you retire,
you can get inducted. Yeah.
you can get inducted.
Right.
But after, what I'm trying to say is, after you are retired, is there a cutoff that they can say, okay?
Oh, no, ain't no cutoff.
He's been retired for 20 years.
No.
We can't talk about him anymore.
No, I don't think there's no cutoff. That's a good question though, but I don't think there's no cutoff. Will.
Well, you need to definitely investigate that piece.
But the thing is, like DM, my guy in Wilmington, Delaware, he's on it. He's working on it, and he's
DM. What does DM stand for?
Deal maker.
Deal maker.
Yeah, that's what I call him.
Come on, DM, man. Come on, man.
Maker.
Make the deal, man.
Yeah,
Let's get it cracking, man.
But DM, but he's on it. This is the guy that I've been doing this for what 2006 or 7 or something like that. Like when I go to the Hall of Fame, I fly into Wilmington, check into me a hotel. Me and him one time he had like 3 sheets of all these tour stops and stuff, just doing charity, man. Children's hospitals and things of that nature. We do that for like 2-3 days, and then he and I shut down. Then me and him drive up to the Hall of Fame, upstate New York, which is like, 5.5-6 hours from Wilmington, Delaware, where he's from. and then we go there. And then when I come back, I fly back the next day.
Who's the best promoter that has always had your money right that you've worked with?
I never got a chance to meet this man. I never got a chance to meet him, Will.
Wow. Is that bad, man?
Man, boxing, Will, what you got to understand, those guys, and that's another thing. And on one hand, they right. Don King, flashy, this and that. But all these promoters, man, they dictate the money.
So why does Don King get all of
Because his background,
smoke?
where he's from, the hair sticking up. And
Because he's black.
Yeah. And he's a man of color. That's right. Yeah.
He's black.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Don King is the bad guy because he's black and he's successful and he did it better than anybody else. Do you think that
The bad guy is the best guy. Think about that.
Yeah. But is Don King the greatest boxing promoter ever?
I mean, that's why I just said that, Will.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bad guy is the best guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Tyson?
Who?
You met Tyson before, right?
Come on, Will. You know, me and Tyson came up together.
In the amateurs?
I showed you the picture the other day. Didn't I? Me and him when we were 16.
I didn't see a picture.
Oh, he
of
got
you.
my phone.
You
Yeah,
and
but
Tyson.
you know, me and Tyson. Yeah. we
Yeah,
came up
that's
together.
right, man.
Yeah.
Man, you done came in here and transported your energy over here, your memory loss over to me, man. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. You know, I've been on Tyson since
Yeah.
we was like 15 in JOs. And then me and him was on the U.S. team.
Give me a Tyson story. Something that you remember about Mike Tyson that always make you go, ah.
I always remembered, like, when we was having big fights in, like, Colorado Springs or other places on that level, representing the U.S., going to different countries and stuff, fighting each other. I remember Teddy Atlas, who used to be with him. Before Tyson fights, he would always have breakdowns. I'm talking about crying breakdowns with my man out there patting him on the head, rubbing his head and shaking. And then the next thing you know, he's like, well, come on, we got to go there and fight. And Tyson go in there, start shouting about real fast, get in there and knock somebody out. That was Tyson.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Tyson, man.
Mike Tyson.
That was Mike, man.
This is a good segue to your top five. Who's your top five greatest fighters? Reggie Johnson's top five greatest fighters. This ain't Ring Magazine. This ain't Box Rec. This is Reggie Johnson's top five. All time.
Well,
Boxing. The
top
greatest, in your opinion.
I think I love Sugar Ray Leonard. I would probably have him number 5. Number 4. Boy, this is Will. Boy, this is rough, Will. Let me see. Number 4 would be Will. I might have to get back with you on that.
Well, we know
that's a good
Ali
one.
is in there, so we know
Oh,
Ali.
Yeah, you
We
know Ali in there. I would.
Is Ali number 1?
Yeah, for me, I would put Ali number 1 because, and then I know when you say the boxer, it's not only what he did in the ring, out the ring. I'm looking at all these guys from the same perspective. Man, who the first guy I just said?
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar Ray Leonard, number 5. Roberto Duran, number 4. Whew. Oh, boy, that's rough. Number 3 would be Mike Tyson. Number 2 would be Evander Holyfield.
There it is.
And number 1 would be the greatest of all time.
There it
Muhammad
is.
Ali.
There it is. So you got Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, number 3. Who's number 4? Number 4. Number 4
Wait a minute,
was
what?
Roberto Duran, number 4.
Right.
Number 3, Sugar Ray Leonard. Mike Tyson, number 2. And Ali, number 1.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a fist right there,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. And even with that, now when I think in retrospect, I kind of forgot somebody that should have been in that top 3, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I left out.
Yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Sugar Ray Robinson, man. Come on, man.
You start talking about Sugar Ray Robinson and Jack Johnson. Yeah, you can.
I forgot about Jack Johnson, who I found out that I was related to.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson.
Yeah, Jack Johnson, right up the street, Galveston.
Yeah. So we're gonna scratch that whole list, Will. I gotta put some thought into that. I'm gonna get that to you though, bro.
No, that's your list for right now. That's your tentative list.
But I can change it, huh?
That's your tentative list.
Okay.
Yeah, you can always update your list.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
Wow,
you got any regrets, man, about your career? Your boxing career, and even beyond your boxing career, life. You got any regrets?
I don't. I don't have no. I can't come up with no regrets. Maybe it'll hit me later, but I can't come up with no regrets because, like I said, God is in control, brother, and we live, we learn, and we live. I've been blessed by the best to, and I think in retrospect of all the things I've done, all the things I've set out to do that I accomplished, man, I didn't write this. God wrote this. I didn't write this. But, and a lot of people, we don't understand that, God gives us free will. And, growing up watching my grandmother's uncle, my uncle and them having to go pick up my uncle, see him, he, drinking, and they had to go get him out the ditch. And, we from the hood, we'll just, seeing this, it's kind of like motivated me to do the opposite and live a better life. And man, I was blessed by the best. My uncle introducing me to the late Mr. James Carter. Growing up doing something that I love to do. And I grew up fast. I had a job at 14. Working at Kroger's.
Yeah, you knocked out your manager. I remember that.
The assistant manager guy, yeah.
Manager, assistant manager. You knocked out the assistant manager. Tell the people why you knocked out the assistant manager.
I was only 14 to 15 years old.
Tell the people why a 14-year-old kid knocks out a grown man. What happened?
Well, first of all, this is assistant manager, this Caucasian brother, the way he talking to the people that work there, this and that. And to make a long story short, this particular day, I had just got off. I'm looking at the schedule, see when I come to work this week. And he asked me to do something. I said, well, I already clocked out. And then he went off. God damn it, I don't give a fuck. God damn it. I said, excuse me? Man, I'm what, 15 years old, I think. Yeah, I'm about 15 years old, 16. I was getting ready to turn 16. And I said, what? Man, before you know it, man, I done hit this dude with an 8-piece. And when you really think about it, this is a build-up. Because I'm seeing how this guy handling guys and how he talk to people. And, man, this whole story, the head manager called us all together. We went upstairs in his office, and he said, Reggie, man, we take care of you. You're going to be champion of the world one day. Man, you can't just be putting your hands on people, this and that, this and that. And then he looked at the guy. He said, now, let me get this right. He told you he didn't clocked out, and you still trying to make the man, and all these other people we got, and then Mr. Callahan, that's his name. I still go see Mr. Callahan. Mm-hmm. He have like 2 events every year for Christmas and holidays at his house. And Mr. Callahan said, well, this is what I like to do. I like to, can we just put this behind us or just pretend it never happened, this and that. So we all agreed to do that. I went back to work. It wasn't 10 days. I'm still watching this guy. And I went to go find Mr. Callahan. He was in the fruit section. And this is the Kroger's right there on Tidwell and 59. That's not there no more while I was working. And I said, Mr. Callahan, he said, what's wrong? What's wrong? He thought, I said, no, I just need to talk to you. Can I talk to you? He said, yeah, meet me upstairs. I went up in his office. I said, Mr. Callahan, thank you for letting me come back to work, but I can't work with this guy. I'm going to get myself in trouble. And, man, he's like, do I need to talk to him again? I said, no, I said, he ain't talking to me like that no more, but I'm watching how he's handling these, everybody. But, man, I remember that was the longest walk home. Keep in mind, man, it was my two sisters and my mama. My dad was locked up then, and, I'm just sitting there thinking how I'm going to tell my mother I quit this job, and I might have to find another job. But when I knocked on the door, my mama opened that door. She said, God damn it, boy, what the hell you done did now? I said, I ain't do nothing. And then I told her what happened. She said, oh, my God. She said, boy, Reggie, you quit the job. She said, oh, my God, I thought you had to put your hands on that man again. She said, I got something for you. My mother went in the room. Keep in mind, this is my late mother. My mother went in the room, came out with the mail, and she was going through the mail, and she found my mail and gave it to me. And I'm like, Mama, why would you up? She said, God damn it, I'm your mama. Boy, just read the damn mail. And I read the mail, and it said, Reggie Johnson, you're invited, boom, 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 USA, man, Sweden, Germany, Denmark, Japan. That's when I got on the USA boxing team.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I went to Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's where the Olympic Training Center was. And there was other athletes there, but, we was on the U.S. team. Come to find out every 2 weeks we was getting a check for more money than I was making at Kroger's. And I was in a position to do what I love to do and represented our America, traveling the world, fighting people in different countries. And that was it. I never looked back. Everything else just fell in place.
Well, man, you ain't got to look back. Just keep on going forward, man, and keep giving us more Reggie Johnson because, man, we love you, man. We appreciate your contributions to boxing. We appreciate your contributions to H-Town. You are H-Town, man, and you're one of the realest I've ever met. I love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, man. I want to just mention a few names, man. The late Mr. James Carter, who my late Uncle Kenneth I, man, Walker introduced me to. All this would have never happened if it wasn't for, those people. Certain people in your life make things happen. I was inspired even by my dad, even though he was locked up, but to watch him get out and change his life before he passed away. And big shout out to him. May he and my mother rest in peace. I want to send a big shout out to E&E Construction. That's my cousin Eric, who was also a fighter.
Eric used to box.
Yeah, he used to do a little boxing
put
too.
Them hands up.
But Eric, he's a businessman and he's doing well as well.
Yeah,
big shout out to him.
And R.I.P. to his late mother.
Yeah, to his late mother. We just lost his mother this weekend, and I was at the funeral. That was coming up too. Thanks, Willie, for speaking on that. But and man, nothing but love and respect for Willie D. What this man came from. He came from the same place I came from, Fifth Ward. But Will and he came from a further place than I did because Will really know the streets. I've never had a cigarette. I ain't never smoked or had a drink in my life. Nothing foreign in my body. I've never really lived that life or was in a position to be in that life, even though I lived in Fifth Ward, from Fifth Ward. But boxing kept me away from a lot of things that, a lot of those things eventually
got you in a jam.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We and I can only think in retrospect, Will, man. We've set example for the future. A lot of these youngsters coming up, man. I just last week went and talked to a whole group of kids, and man, that's my passion. I love doing that.
Yeah.
And this was at a place off of 288 very nice place. I can't remember the name of it, but it was, and my cousin, one of my first cousins set this up where people, when they, homeless, they ain't got nowhere to stay. You ought to see the beautiful apartments they built. And one day, Will, me and you can probably, go pay a visit over there, man. And just walk
Jump
in
the
on
car
it, man.
and ride, huh?
Yeah.
Like we used to do when you used to come pick me up for the rap battles at the Rhinestone.
Rhinestone.
Reggie, anytime Reggie would be in town, he would, this is why he was out, getting his money. He would come into town and come by my house, scoop me up, and we'd go to the club, and I'd go out there and just beat them boys' heads in on them rap battles.
Yeah, what was the name of that club on
Rhinestone.
Homestead?
Gucci's.
Yeah, Gucci's.
That was Gucci's.
And then what's the name of the other one you just mentioned?
The Rhinestone.
The Rhinestone.
The Rhinestone Wrangler.
Yeah.
Man, what about that documentary that you got coming up? What's up with that?
That's another thing. Yeah, I'm working on a documentary, the Reggie Sweet Johnson story. Got a young man named Hassan who he came up with the MMA karate fighting, but he's a photographer and he's doing the movie thing, and it was his whole idea, and I just thought about this. It'd be a great idea to open the door for a talented young man who's in this business. So why not let him do the Reggie Sweet Johnson documentary? That would really open the door. He's a smart dude, good, hell of a photographer, and it was, he approached me with it, and I'm like, man, I've always wanted to do that, and let's get started. So we've been working on this for about 2 months, and one of the things I told him is that I don't care if this takes 6 months or a year. I want to take our time and tell the whole story.
Right.
Right.
It's going to be a good story because we have just scratched the surface here in the last hour or so, but it's going to be a very good story.
And one of the things that think about, you, like years go by, you've been out there fighting, traveling, and doing this here, and then somebody bring to your attention, man, you the first guy from Houston to win a world title. Did you know that, Will?
No, I didn't know that.
The Rockets won it in 93, 94, and 94, 95. I won it in 92. And most people, what they bring up, what George
from? George is from where?
Marshall, Texas.
Marshall, Texas.
Yeah.
George is from up the street.
Yeah.
H-Town, born and bred.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for coming on the show, man. And when is the documentary expected to be out?
Well, like I said, we're going to take our time. If it takes 6 months or a year, I'm just taking our time doing it. When you have other ongoing things doing, you shoot here, you shoot this.
So you don't have a target date.
No, I don't have a target date.
You just have a quality date.
Right, a quality date.
Make sure you get it right.
And then pretty soon we'll start. Probably when we get halfway, we'll probably start advertising it.
Okay.
Letting the people know what's coming down the pipe.
Well, let me know. Definitely want to have you back on the show, man, to talk about it, and we're going to do what we can to help put it out there, too.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie Sweet Johnson.
Thanks for having me, Will.
One of the greatest.
Thank you, bro.
And come on with that Hall of Fame thing, man.
Yeah.
Here we go.